The Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers would be going up against one another in the W.
For 5 years, basketball fans have witnessed one of the most iconic rivalries take shape, Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers. Both were high school sensations who chose different routes. Clark went to Iowa, while Bueckers committed to UConn. In college, Clark consistently outshined Bueckers, especially during the NCAA tournament. Critics like Gino Orima doubted whether Clark's dominance would carry over to the WNBA. But last night, when the Indiana Fever hosted the Dallas Wings, the two finally met as professionals, and what unfolded wasn't just a game, it was Clark rewriting history in a way only she has ever done twice. If you're hyped about the records shattered that night, drop a CC record breaker in the comments. Let's go. Picture this, two teenage basketball prodigies taking the nation by storm, destined for a rivalry that would span years, Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. Their first clash came in high school, both ranked among the top recruits but with distinctly different games and personalities. Clark dazzled with explosive scoring, pinpoint passing, and unlimited three-point range, while Bueckers impressed with her silky efficiency, lethal mid-range jumper, and court vision that matched Clark's every move.
Hey Caitlin, you've known Paige since middle school, AAU. You guys were on the U19 World Cup team together. Is there anything that maybe stood out then about her, whether it be on or off the court, that maybe still reigns true today?
I mean, I feel like she's played in the same manner that she, has since she was, whether we were on the U16 team together, U19 team together, whether it was me watching her in AAU, like she's always just been smooth. She takes what the game gives her. Her midi has always been as nice as it's been this year. She's just she just plays way older than she is. Like she's confident, she's smooth, she just does everything at a high level, can score from all three levels, and that's how she's always played, and that's obviously translated.
Their college paths couldn't have been more different. Paige Bueckers committed to the storied UConn program under Gino Orima, joining a dynasty stacked with championships, while Caitlin Clark chose Iowa, a hungry underdog aiming to make its mark on the national stage. That decision set the stage for legendary NCAA tournament showdowns that would shape both of their legacies. Clark's Hawkeyes shattered Bueckers' championship hopes in March Madness, with Clark delivering jaw-dropping performances, including a 41-point clinic that ended UConn's run. Clark outdueled Bueckers in 2 of their 3 college meetings, sparking heated debates among analysts and fans and fueling a rivalry so electric it transcended college basketball.
People are saying, oh, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin and all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige didn't.
Gino Orima had pointed criticisms of Caitlin Clark's game, often questioning her shot selection and expressing skepticism about her readiness for the WNBA compared to his own star, Paige Bueckers. Orima believed Bueckers' polished fundamentals and efficient style would translate more seamlessly to the pro level. In many ways, Clark's explosive scoring and Bueckers' smooth, methodical play came to symbolize 2 contrasting philosophies of basketball greatness.
Anna said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Both players declared for the WNBA, leaving fans eagerly waiting for their long-anticipated professional showdown. With Caitlin Clark holding a 2-1 edge over Paige Bueckers from their college battles, all eyes were on their first meeting in the pros. But this time, Clark faced new doubts about her transition to the WNBA. The hype was undeniable. ABC picked up the game for national broadcast, knowing the rivalry would captivate viewers coast to coast. With Clark navigating early struggles with the Fever, this matchup carried even more weight for her reputation.
Our player development coach yesterday, and he was just sent me a few things of even Steph going through a slump. I think he was 27 for his last 70 or something like that. The best in the world go through it, and I think that's where you can find your confidence. And I think the thing I always fall back on is like, I know how hard I've worked. So, this isn't something that's going to last. And the best players in the world go through this. So I feel like I'm getting good shots. And I think that's why it's frustrating, because those are the shots that
But here's where things got interesting. Clark's Indiana Fever were reeling heading into the highly anticipated showdown. They had just suffered back-to-back embarrassing losses to teams they were expected to beat, including the struggling LA Sparks and the expansion Golden State Valkyries. These weren't elite squads, they were matchups the Fever should have dominated, leaving fans frustrated and questioning what was going wrong just days before one of the biggest games of the season.
I feel like this stretch, this is a big game for us. I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. So I think for us is like, we got to find a way to be able to stack really good games together. And then we go on the road and, we're on a back-to-back, which is just a challenge in itself. No matter who you're playing, we play Connecticut, then we play New York. So I think Steph's message was, yes, All-Stars coming up, that break's coming up, but our focus is on these 3 games that we have left. So in that sense, I do think it's critical that our focus just remains on the game in front of us. And I feel like that's what everybody in the locker room.
Behind the scenes, a philosophical battle was unfolding between Caitlin Clark's high-octane vision and head coach Stephanie White's methodical, half-court approach. Clark wanted to push the tempo and capitalize on fast break opportunities, while White insisted on a slower, more controlled offensive style. This clash created real tension within the Fever organization, as Clark's strengths were being stifled by a system that didn't suit her game. The turning point came during a nationally televised matchup against the Atlanta Dream, when a heated sideline exchange between Clark and White was caught on camera, every word, every glare, making the depth of their disagreement impossible to ignore.
Something going on within the locker room, the front office, something is off, man. This is the 3rd situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. And it looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before.
Lineup inconsistencies only added to the chaos. Caitlin Clark was returning from injury and trying to regain her rhythm, while Deiris Dantas had just come back from national team duties, disrupting any sense of team chemistry. With constant rotation changes and players still adjusting to shifting roles, the Fever struggled to find offensive flow or consistency. Missed shots became a nightly issue, turnovers killed momentum, and the fast break style that Clark thrived in was nowhere to be found. Clark openly addressed the team's erratic performance, saying, "I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game." Her shooting slump became a growing concern, but she stayed confident, comparing her situation to Steph Curry's cold streaks, insisting, "I'm never going to stop shooting." The breaking point came when Indiana finally snapped their skid with a win over Atlanta, a victory on the scoreboard, but not in team unity. The tensions between Clark and Coach White remained unresolved, their philosophical divide merely paused, not fixed.
It can be frustrating when your shot isn't going in the way that you want it to, but then I look at the box and it's like, I'm really 4 shots away from having a really good game, a really good shooting game. So that's where you find your confidence, and I know those are shots that I can make, and I'm never going to stop shooting. So, until I break out of it, I'm just going to keep launching, and that's all I know, and I'm still confident in everything that I...
The Dallas game became the ultimate test. Would Coach Stephanie White finally embrace Caitlin Clark's preferred up-tempo style, or would their ongoing philosophical clash continue to limit the team's potential? With the much-hyped matchup against Paige Bueckers looming, the stakes couldn't have been higher, and Clark was desperate to prove that her fast-paced vision could succeed at the pro level. Then, something magical happened. White made a game-changing decision and gave Clark exactly what she had been asking for. For the first time, Clark was handed full control of the offense, allowed to dictate the tempo, push in transition, and run the team her way. This wasn't a minor tweak, it was a total shift in coaching strategy, a bold move that showed White was finally ready to trust Clark's instincts and leadership on the court.
Lee Arroyo the other night had a season-high 18 points. Here's Boston turning the corner. Dishing to Hull. Extra feed Clark. A deep 3. You bet! And he actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well. Right on the money to Mitchell.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown, Fever.
Early in the game, it was unclear whether the new strategy would pay off, as both teams spent the first quarter feeling each other out. The Fever looked solid but far from dominant, slowly working to find their rhythm. Caitlin Clark focused on getting her teammates involved, setting the tone as a floor general, but the explosive moments fans were waiting for hadn't arrived yet. Meanwhile, the Dallas Wings matched their energy, keeping the game tight and competitive through the opening stretch.
Here's Clark being hawked by Isaiah James. Clark sidestepping three is good. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful. Here's Clark off the screen, through the lane, feeds Howard. Another assist for Clark. That's 13 as Howard is up to...
Then came the explosive second quarter when everything finally clicked. Clark took full command, pushing the pace with relentless energy and threading pinpoint full-court passes, those signature, touchdown passes, fans had come to love. The Fever erupted for 36 points in just 10 minutes, outscoring Dallas by a staggering 21 points in the quarter. It wasn't just effective basketball, it was pure poetry in motion, the kind of rhythm and brilliance that happens when talent is fully unleashed.
And he actually brought up stat from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell. A tenacious start from Caitlin Clark. Here's Wale. Off on a three. Long rebound. Mitchell. You're not going to catch her. Kelsey Mitchell in for two. They elevate each other because of how hard they compete. Nice look. Aaliyah Boston with a gorgeous dime to Kelsey.
Clark's teammates responded to her leadership in spectacular fashion. Kelsey Mitchell caught fire, pouring in 20 points on 8 of 12 shooting and extending her double-digit scoring streak to 21 games, thriving off the pace and energy Clark set. Natasha Howard sprinted the floor like a gazelle, racking up 18 points on an ultra-efficient 8 of 9 shooting, attacking the rim with force and precision. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint, using her size and strength to finish everything Clark created. The chemistry between Clark and Boston was flawless. Clark drew defenders with her speed, then effortlessly dished to Boston for easy buckets, showcasing a connection that looked unstoppable.
Mitchell bounces, Boston, one more time. This time Mitchell delivering, and Boston up to 13 points. Indiana shooting 66.
What made this performance truly unforgettable was the sheer dominance and beauty of the Fever's offensive execution. They exploded for a franchise record 64 points in the first half, surpassing their previous mark of 63 set in 2016 against the New York Liberty, and it stood as the highest scoring half by any WNBA team in the 2025 season. The Fever also tied a franchise record with 30 assists, 13 of them from Caitlin Clark, proving that when given the freedom to run the offense her way, she could elevate everyone around her. Clark wasn't just scoring, she was unlocking the full potential of her teammates. The ball movement was crisp, purposeful, and relentless, turning every possession into a threat. Sophie Cunningham brought the perfect spark off the bench, adding 13 points and hitting a milestone with a driving layup that pushed her past 1,500 career points. Her energy and shooting gave Indiana yet another weapon, leaving Dallas with no answers.
The rebound. Cunningham swiftly up the floor, finds Howard for two. Sophie Cunningham making a huge impact off the bench, and Dallas will take a timeout.
In this lineup, Natasha Howard is the quickest.
The Fever's 36-point explosion in the second quarter tied for the third highest scoring quarter in franchise history, fueled by a scorching 76.2% shooting from the field. During an 8-minute stretch, they unleashed a devastating 33-9 run that left the Dallas Wings completely overwhelmed. The Wings simply had no answers for Indiana's relentless tempo and energy, as the game quickly turned into a blowout. Dallas looked exhausted and disoriented, unable to keep pace with the Fever's transition-heavy attack. Caitlin Clark's vision for up-tempo basketball was working to perfection, not just as a stylistic choice but as a dominant, winning formula. This wasn't just a win, it was validation. Stephanie White had finally unleashed Clark's full potential, and the result was nothing short of historic.
Good dub. 2 in a row. 2 more to All-Star. Let's go. Woo!
W. Oh, Fever down, so you already know what's coming. Bow, bow, bow! On to the next.
Hell yeah! Can you use that one?
Let's go, bacon. Yep, W. Now we gotta go get another one.
Here's the moment that will be remembered forever. Caitlin Clark didn't just win, she etched her name into WNBA history. While commanding the game with poise and precision, she was quietly crafting a stat line seen only once before in league history. She did everything on the court, scoring when needed, orchestrating the offense with ease, and then something remarkable began to unfold on the defensive end. Clark had already notched 14 points, showing she could score efficiently without forcing shots, and tallied 13 assists, proving she could elevate everyone around her. But then came the defensive brilliance. She started reading passing lanes like a mind reader, anticipating Dallas's every move before it happened. The numbers kept building, and what was once just a dominant performance was turning into something historic.
Bounce. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful mid-range fadeaway from Caitlin Clark.
Here's the exact moment history was made. Caitlin Clark recorded her 5th steal of the game, completing a stat line of 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals, becoming the only player in WNBA history to achieve that exact combination twice in her career. With that, she stood alone, etching her name into the record books once again. But Clark's defensive impact went far beyond the numbers. She also recorded a block that instantly triggered a fast break assist to Sophie Cunningham, a play that showcased her elite court awareness and ability to turn defense into offense in seconds. Her anticipation disrupted Dallas's rhythm all night, and every time the Wings had the ball, they had to account for Clark's presence. On both ends of the floor, she was a constant threat, transforming the game, possession by possession.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown Fever.
Sophie Cunningham runs the route and puts her hand up in the air, gives Caitlin Clark the target, barely over the fingertips of Hines Allen. Beautiful, beautiful pass, catch, in stride, finish. Beautiful basketball.
Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings had no answer for Caitlin Clark's complete mastery of the game. The most telling stat came from Eriko Gunbowl, one of Dallas's top scorers, who went 0 for 10 from the field and finished with just 2 points, shut down by Clark's relentless defensive pressure and the Fever's airtight team defense. Her struggles underscored Indiana's total dominance. Dallas's strategy to get physical with Clark, grabbing her off the ball and refusing to switch screens, completely backfired. Instead of rattling her, their aggression only fueled Clark's brilliance as she exploited every defensive misstep, finding open teammates and slicing through defenders with sharp drives to the rim. Every attempt to slow her down ended in punishment. The final score, 102-83, said it all. Clark had silenced every critic who questioned her WNBA readiness and delivered a performance that wasn't just great, it was a statement. This game cemented her place among the league's elite and proved she wasn't just adjusting to the pros, she was redefining what was possible. The rivalry with Bueckers had entered a new chapter, and Clark had written the opening lines with pure dominance.
Feel like this was one of their best games as far as playing Fever basketball, which is a fast-paced style of basketball. They played Fever basketball for, I would say, about 75 to 80% of the game, and we have obviously seen this style of basketball, the style of basketball that we all know and love from the Indiana Fever, but we have only really seen it in short spurts. There have been so many games and so many times throughout this season where it feels like the Fever system is a slow down basketball type of system. Their offense wasn't running smoothly, but in this game, they were playing quick. They were moving the ball around. They had so many points off of the fast break.
The prophecy is complete. Caitlin Clark has officially cemented her place among the WNBA's elite, making history that only she can claim. This blowout win over Bueckers and the Wings revealed the Fever's true ceiling when Clark is fully unleashed to play her game. Franchise records were shattered, individual milestones stacked up, and, most importantly, the team's chemistry finally came alive once Stephanie White embraced Clark's vision. With the second half of the 2025 season approaching and this rivalry just entering its pro era, basketball fans have every reason to be excited. The Fever now head into tough road matchups against Connecticut and New York, but with Clark leading the way, the momentum is real. If you're fired up about what's next for the Fever, drop a CC record breaker in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on